Hi, my name is Noelle Dumitrescu, and I am here today to introduce you to emotional, social, and behavioral disorders. What I would like to do is to provide you with some information so that you can make a heartful and educated decision on where you would like to go with your career once you finish your schooling and you decide to go into the education field. Now, there's a couple things that students that have these disorders face. When they have an impairment of hearing, reading, or processing, they are not able sometimes to fit exactly into the classroom and follow along with all the other students. So, what can we do? What can you and I do as teachers to be able to provide more for these kids? Um, they are given special education and free services, which include education and the services of interventions, speech, language therapy, counseling, physical therapy, social services, and believe it or not, some of them can't even get to school, so they're provided transportation as well. So there are services out there. We just need more people, more teachers like you, to come into this field of teaching and provide for these students. They are given an individualized education plan, which is called an IEP, and that is specific for what is needed for that specific student. Now, one thing that I would really like to emphasize here, and I'm not sure that many people are most people are familiar with this, but these disorders and these behavioral issues and these emotional things that are going on with these students is not based on their IQ. So it is not based on how smart this student is. Many of these students suffer from anxiety. They may fear that a loved one is dying. They may get increased heart rate, sweating. They can't sit in the classroom. They're just worrying about things all the time. There are some social things that go into play here as well. Are they getting fed, clothed properly at home? Some students have depression. Now, when we think of depression, we don't just think of, oh, I got depressed because this happened or that happened. Depression in this situation is defined as a student that is suffering for a minimum of 2 weeks. So they are really suffering, and they're not able to complete their classwork. They're not able to work on what is being assigned to the other students. It is greatly affecting them in the classroom. Now, ADHD, that's another thing that falls under this as far as students that are affected. Their self-regulation is not there, so they're not able to regulate themselves. Now, some people may think, oh, geez, that student can't sit still. They're all over the place. They don't focus, or they don't care. I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions also, is that thinking that the student does not care when they are suffering an emotional, social, or behavioral disorder. So what can we do? There are a small percentage of students that suffer from conduct disorders, which is extreme. This isn't just a student who gets into trouble here and there. This is an extreme disorder. So these students, want to learn this information. It's not a matter of wanting, it's not a matter of IQ, it's not a matter of that. What can we do? And how can we take all the different teaching strategies that we know and incorporate this into a classroom, something that may help an ADHD student versus something that a standard student, a way of learning? How can we incorporate these together so that all students can learn in all different kinds of ways? Because I think that we are, putting them in a box or saying it's black and white when it's not black and white. There should be a gray area of how the standard student learns and how these other students learn, and we can put them in a classroom where everybody is able to work together. and these students do not, would not feel left out or singled out. I invite you to consider this as part of your career. There is a huge need for you, not only as a teacher, but as a special education teacher or a teacher willing to work with students and wanting to put their heart into it for the students with these emotional, social, and behavioral disorders. So again, I invite you, and please consider it. Thank you very much for attending today.